So let's look at the impeachment and what we expect to be happening this week and the next couple of months, and then we're going to go into some of the transcripts.
We're about to get into Thanksgiving is coming up. We're about to lose ourselves in the holidays. So let me just plan out your nightmare.
That sounds wonderful, doesn't it?
Over the past year.
Lose ourselves in the holidays.
I know.
I love that.
I know. I want to be allowed to lose myself in the holiday.
Me too. I'm going to.
This comes from CNN, which you might say, it's CNN, fake news. But they do seem to be almost like planning the impeachment hearings on the air. So they have a pretty good sense as to when things are going to happen.
Here's what Nancy Pelosi's going to say today, because we told her.
So far we have transcripts from the inquiry of about 2,700 pages of transcripts. We have Fiona Hill, George Kent, Michael McKinley, Gordon Sondland, Bill Taylor, Alexander Vindman, Colt Volcker, and Mary Yovonovitch. She was the ambassador. So we still have Christopher Anderson, Laura Cooper, Catherine Croft, David Hale, Tim Morrison, Philip Reeker, Jennifer Williams to be released. So we still don't have about half of the transcripts of the behind-the-scenes stuff they've already done. Okay, so that's step one. That's at some point these things will start trickling out, and we'll get all of them. Wednesday is a big day for a few different reasons. Number one, there's a big special on Blaze TV. You should go to blazetv.com, use the promo code GB20 off, get 20% off your subscription. Helps support these things, and it's about the impeachment. We'll get into the exact details as to what we're going to cover with this special on Wednesday. But you can get it for free on YouTube. You can share it on YouTube and all these other places. But certainly your subscription is welcome to support all of these efforts. That is one thing. On the other side is the first live testimony we're going to get in public. This is going to come from Kent and Taylor. Now, Taylor is one of he's the former ambassador, top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine. He's one of the guys that was texting about basically there was a quid pro quo. He's one of their star witnesses, I would say. There's also Kent, who is really critical of the president. So they're leading with some of their best material here. This is November 13th, which is Wednesday. Then on Friday, you're going to get testimony from Yovonovitch. She is the former ambassador to Ukraine and was fired basically by the Trump administration.
She's the ambassador that everyone said was stopping any investigations by the Ukrainians into U.S. government officials, into the Anti-Corruption Bureau, into anything doing with George Soros, anything having to do with Burisma, stopping all investigations and stopping any information coming into the United States. She wouldn't provide visas nor deliver any information from the prosecutor general in Ukraine. That's pretty significant. Of course, now they don't talk about that, but
maybe they will. I mean, this is a chance for Republicans to ask some questions too. Now, next week is another week, they believe, of live testimony. And what's fascinating to me about this is next week. I'm losing track of my weeks here. How many weeks until actually Thanksgiving? Is it
2 weeks?
So 2 free weeks before the Thanksgiving week. You are really bumping up against the holidays here with your live testimony. It's probably the last week where your people are really going to pay all that much attention to this, at least on the top of their news cycle. People drift in and out around the holidays. They're going to Christmas parties. They're going to, Thanksgiving dinners, gatherings, all these things. News, we know this from years and years and years of experience. The marketplace for news drifts off a little bit in December. So it's weird to place things that you want attention on in December if you can help it.
Well, you would make sure that you lead with the ones that you think are the safest and the ones that are going to make it through any kind of cross-examination. You do that this week. Then you go with your second tier next week, and then after that, it doesn't matter.
Like eventually they just start, Michael Avenatti starts bringing people in, and then they're almost done.
Yeah, they're almost done. Then they're like, whatever. Because the people are like, yeah, how many days till Christmas? I got to get some shopping done.
Right. So the next 2 weeks of live testimony, then we go on to Thanksgiving week where they're sure to take a break, vacation time. Then they come back and there's a funding The government needs to be funded, which is your typical debate that would highlight and be the first thing people would be talking about in the news.
Yeah, but again, why did they put it at this time of the year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it disappears.
Bury it.
It disappears. Then you have the December. So what the rest of the schedule is. So after we get all this testimony done, the House goes and they come up with their charges of impeachment, if there are any. Because who knows? Maybe they'll decide there's nothing. He did nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know this is a fair and open process, and maybe they'll just decide, you know what? Looks like the president was clean here. Maybe that will happen, but likely they'll go back and come up with articles of impeachment. If they do that, they think they will have a committee report and vote on the first week of December, as early as the first week of December. And that is, you have the votes then the next week. So you have the reports, the charges, the hearings, then the vote the next week, which would be probably December 16th, they think. Again, you're now in the middle. I mean, who is paying attention to the news on December 16th, right? Like this is, it's bizarre. Now, I will say the Clinton impeachment vote did happen on December 19th, 1998. So it's not the first time this has happened at this sort of time period. But it is sort of in the middle of the Christmas holiday, and this would be the type of thing. Now, they're not committing to that timeline, but that's basically what you're looking at. They're saying now they think they're going to get a vote done completely by the end of the year. I mean, it's optimistic, I think, for them. I mean, if you don't think there's going to be twists and turns in this thing? I mean,
here's the thing I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that the GOP is not going to allow it to proceed to the Senate. And I think that is a massive, massive mistake. You cannot.
You're sure about that?
Yeah. You cannot. You have to start playing offensively. Mm-hmm. They're putting us into a defensive mode. Play offense. Good. We've got some things we'd like to introduce to the American people as well. We've got our own witnesses to call. We have our own pieces of evidence to bring in.
And they want to do that. They want to bring people like Hunter Biden in to testify.
Right.
But they think the Democrats are going to block that from happening.
Well, you can do that. I believe you can do that in the House, but I don't believe you can do that in the Senate because the Senate, the president has a right. He has his own attorney, so he has defense. So he can bring up all of the stuff that he said in the phone call. Hey, I want to know about the corruption with the election tampering. I want to know what was happening with Burisma. I want to know what was happening with our $7 billion. They do not want that to come up. And so far, I don't know why, but so far, you don't have a lot of Republicans talking about this.
Yeah,
they've got to go on the offense.
I think a lot of Republicans think that's not the offense, though. They think that giving into a Senate trial is giving it too much credibility. I tend to agree with you. Because,
blow it out of the water.
Yeah, because here's what you think. Again, these things are tough to predict, but I mean, generalizing here, what's going to happen is the Democrats in the House are going to bring out their best evidence. And there's not really going to be a chance to push back on other types of related issues in public because that's not the way it's formatted. So this is why they like it, right? They get all the bad stuff out. They don't have to deal with the other stuff. And it goes to the end of the year. They get the impeachment vote, and they can tell all of their people that, yeah, we got that done. All the senators, and they can all brag about how their party is the one that was able to impeach Donald Trump for the primary. And then it goes to the Senate, and if Mitch McConnell says, you know what, this is nothing, and this is just political, and we're not going to talk about it, then they have that argument of this is the first time in history, which it would be, that the Senate did not take up an impeachment that was done in the House. It would be one of those things where they would have an argument that say, essentially, the Republicans are just ignoring all the bad things that they're doing. If you have the trial, it's not like the Democrats are going to come up with additional information on this. They're going to blow it all here on this impeachment thing. So you're going to get a rehash of all the stuff we've already heard, and then additional evidence of all the things that the Republicans can talk about that they can't get away with talking about in the House. Not to mention that it will pull all of the senators that are presidential candidates off of the campaign, and they will hate it.
I think this is just destruction. I think if every single senator stands up from the Republican side. This is nothing but a circus. This is a waste of American time and American money. But the American people need to know what the Democrats are willing to do to overthrow a duly elected president. So I vote, bring it on. If they approach it that way, and every single one of them, when they are voting, say that. Don't just say yay. Don't say yay. Say, damn right, bring it on. You have to have, because what will happen is, just a vote, they'll say, oh my gosh, 60 Republicans think this should be looked into as well. No. All of them need to be in lockstep. This is a trial that is going to reveal the truth, not about what happened on that phone call, because we all know that's a farce. We are only voting yes, so the president has a right to defend himself, to show exactly what the DNC has been doing, what Hillary Clinton's role was in collusion with Ukraine. You want to bring it up? You want to expose? You want to have an honest conversation, Democrats? Bring it on.